with enlivening Greg Penn, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shannon Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fan, the Preacher Man.
Hi, welcome again to another edition of Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fan, the Preacher Man. And listen, Shannon won't be with us tonight. He's on R&R, but we do have Miss C. She's back. Miss C's back, and she'll have news and information for us. And Ron and I will have a robust conversation tonight about the women. The women are coming forward. The women are coming forward. We've been saying, what about the women? What about the women? Now the women are coming forward, telling their stories about what Epstein and his cohort did to them. And they say they'll create their own list. And Ms. Bondi don't want to come with a list. They'll create their own list, but they know who the men are because they were with the man. How about that? And Margaret Taylor Greene, who is she's with them. She's running them out. She's talking about what the MAGAs are doing and how wrong they are. But then I think Margaret's a little upset with them because she didn't get no appointment. Because she said that because they don't do right when it comes to the women in terms of appointment, they do it all for the good old boys. Well, that's what Margaret's saying. And listen, maybe that's why she's with them this time. I don't know, but it's kind of suspect. Well, and we'll be talking about Putin and Russia and now bombing Poland. Woo! One of the NATO allies. God almighty, it's so much going on in and around the world. Don't forget to subscribe to our network here, our channel, like us, make comments, share. And if you'd like to be a guest on the program, all you got to do again, always go to Straight Talk News 1362@gmail.com. We'll see you on the other side. Share with your friends. We'll see you on the other side. Miss C, and welcome back, Miss C, welcome back.
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast, or more or less. Hey, Bishop Greg. Hey, Pastor Shannon. Hope you all are doing well, and I hope you are doing well too as you watch. Listen, I have some tidbits of information I want to share. First African Missionary Baptist invites you to their church revival September 23rd through the 25th, 7 p.m. each night, with guest speakers respectively including Pastor Kendall Benneman, Dr. C.L. Anderson, and Dr. E. Neil Dixon. First African Missionary Baptist is located at 600 Church Drive in Glenville, Georgia. That's 30427. Foundation Shaker Ministries invites you to come celebrate Founders Weekend, honoring Bishop Andrew and Lady Jacqueline Holliday. On September 19th at 7:30 p.m., Bishop Aaron Lackey Sr. will bring the word, and on Sunday, September 21st at 9 a.m., Apostle Zilphia Clark will bring the word, and later on Sunday at 2 p.m., it's Apostle Alicia Lindsay with the word. Foundation Shaker Ministries is located at 5436 Riverdale Road, Suite 115 in the rear entrance in College Park, 30349. Mount Ephraim Baptist at 1202 West Marietta Street in Northwest Atlanta invites you to their continued Pastor's Appreciation Celebration on Sunday, September 28th at 10 a.m. with guest speaker Dr. Keith Norman of First Baptist Church Broad in Memphis, Tennessee. You can call 447-941-1470 for more details. The pastor is Reverend Lee C. Franklin. He's the senior pastor. Now listen, there are 4 things I'd like for you to do before we leave. I'd like for you to like us. I'd like for you to subscribe to us, and those little buttons appear right on the front of the screen. And number 3, I'd like for you to leave comments. Let us know how we're doing. And number 4 is to share us. Don't keep Straight Talk News to yourself. Let everybody know what you know, okay? And listen, if you'd like for us to announce your event, just email it to us. That's Straight Talk News 1362 @gmail.com. Straight Talk News, spell it all out, 1362 @gmail.com. And listen, I want to say a happy belated birthday to my granddaughter. She had a birthday on September the 11th, and we always try to make it special for her because it is September the 11th. So we went out to eat and just had a grand time. Happy birthday, Danielle. And I want to say happy birthday to Jackie. Jackie had a birthday on the 11th, and she turned 75. Like I'm going to turn 75 in a few months. Okay. Anyway, I wanted to give a shout out also to my classmates. We had our birthday celebration celebrating everybody who turned 75 this year, and it was a grand time. It was so good getting together and seeing each other as we turned 75. How about that? So, hey, listen, in the meantime and in between time, may the Lord God bless you real good. Bye now.
Well, I'm here with Ron. Shannon is doing his R&R. Miss C, thank you for coming back off of your R&R. Look like you had a great time. You got with the class of 1968, and all of you guys are turning 75 this year. And of course, I am too. But shh, keep it quiet. but we all turning 75 this year. And Ron, your father, Father Philbert, he will be turning 70. Going into 75 this year. All right.
And big shout out to my stepfather Phil, but that's whose birthday, even though he passed.
Right.
His birthday was 2 days ago, September 10th. We miss you, Nelson. Happy birthday, brother.
All right. That's all right. Yeah. Again, I don't know. Again, you're delayed. I don't know why you delayed in terms of when you be talking like you talking later on after you said it. I don't know. But go on.
I just noticed it too.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's about.
We're gonna figure that out next week, right? We're gonna figure that out for next week. But let's go and get started. Let's get started, and I'll just kind of wait until you say what you say and not look for you to be saying it, but just listen for you to be saying it. How about that? All right, y'all. We have a little technical difficulty. Things happen, when it comes to technical stuff. But anyway, I want to talk about, we've been talking about the Epstein case. People saying, that case, that's going to die. Donald Trump is going to kill that and get rid of that like he's done everything else, and he's coming up with everything that he could come up with to stop people talking about Epstein. And Mike Johnson stopped the Congress for a whole almost 2 months to give him a covering to be able to come up with things to do to get people's mind off of Epstein. Well, we've been talking about the women. What about the women? What about the women? What about the women? But the women have come forward. The women have come forward, and they're telling their story now. They're telling their story, and they're saying we'll create our own. We'll make our own list. Forget Pam Bundy. We'll make our own list because we were there. They did this to us, so we know who they are. We know who they are. We know who they are. So you can't discount their story. Why? Because they were the one that were the victims of these rapes and assaults and the thing that was perpetrated to them, and those pedophiles did it to them. So, brothers and sisters, here we are. Where the Epstein case is still going on and names are coming out, and we've said over and over again, we don't care who's in the file. We want those people who are guilty of being a part of starting young people as young as 12 and 13 years old and just taking advantage of these young ladies. So we want to know who they were, and we want something done about it. If it's Donald Trump, if it's Donald Duck, if it's Mickey Mouse, or whoever it is, we don't care. We just want the truth to come out. Now, Margaret Taylor Greene, now she's saying she's all in it now. She's all talking about it and saying, yes, the MAGA party, the maggots are maggots. They're maggots. They covering up. She's saying, and time out for this. She's talking about the thing that's wrong with the maggot party, and only thing they care about is the good old boys. They don't care about the ladies and giving them key positions. Oh man, I mean, she's hot, firecracker hot. Woo, my God. Ron, what say ye today about what's really going on with this MAGA party and this Epstein case? What say ye? What say ye?
I appreciate the ladies taking the initiative to remind this nation we know exactly what's going on, We know exactly who the people are who perpetuated the child trafficking, the sex trafficking, the child prostitution. They took a very affirmative step in saying we can release the names ourselves. In fact, it was amazing hearing one of the survivors talk about being traveling to Africa with President Clinton at the time. That was a phenomenal piece of information that we got firsthand from a survivor. And to take that step to say we as citizens can move beyond waiting on the government to do its job, and we can take the initiative to validate our stories and inform the public about who these predators are. Because, as you said, Bishop, they survive experiences with these individuals. They know who they are. I think that's a powerful standard for all of us as citizens as we continue to see the government invest in political instability. The United States is invading the United States right now. We have National Guard being threatened in multiple cities. Chicago, Baltimore, D.C., New York. I mean, all of these major cities in the United States, and President Trump and his administration is absolutely in league, in bed with creating political instability to smokescreen and deviate from the gravity of the Epstein case. But the details of the Epstein case are so interconnected with the power identities of our government that it's impossible for the Epstein case to go away. One of the ambassadors over in Britain was just fired this week for his connection to Jeffrey Epstein. That public official was captured in the 50th birthday book to Jeffrey Epstein, calling Jeffrey Epstein his best pal. There are pictures with Epstein with this individual, and kudos to the government of Great Britain for taking the affirmative step that with that preponderance of evidence, they went on and dismissed that official. And that's something that we should be able to take. So, Bishop, it is going to be on us as citizens to take the political will like the survivors are doing to hold these people accountable, because I do believe with the Senate and the House maneuvering to refuse to release those files, the institutions of government have made it crystal clear that they are in the protection business of Donald Trump and other high-ranking officials. So, Bishop, I think taking that step to name these individuals themselves, that's exactly where we want to be.
Well, I know that what I am proud of is that there is some still form of morality here in the United States of America, that there are people that's willing to stand up for what's right. Now, there are some people standing up for it now because they've been injured themselves in terms of not treated fairly themselves. So that's what we're seeing now, is there's some people who feel like they have not been treated fairly, that they've been left out of the good old boy network, as Ms. Green is saying on with this, that she's been left out. Her and others have been left out, and the thing that I see is with Marjorie Taylor Greene, she has been a proponent for Donald Trump, even in all of his wrongness. I can see her in the white coat now, streaming out in the House. I can see her and the other ladies streaming out supporting Donald Trump and supporting Matt Gaetz when Matt Gaetz was guilty of the same thing when they were saying that Matt Gaetz was guilty. They tried to cover Matt Gaetz, and because Trump wanted to appoint him, but it was too much out there, so Matt Gaetz just said, "I'm out. I'm out. Don't even worry about appointing me to anything. I'm just going on and just getting out of the limelight." But she was a proponent of supporting a pedophile at one point, and now that this is coming out, now she is saying, "Well, something need to happen. Something need to happen." And she's on that bandwagon. I see her as a person that if things doesn't go the way that she think they need to go, that she's going to take an opportunity to be able to be on the right side, but for the wrong reason. If you understand what I'm saying, I hope people understand. She's on the right side for the wrong reason, not for the right reason, because she's got an election coming up, right? She's running for re-election. So it's good for her to be saying these things, but it's for the wrong reason. It's not that when you could have spoke up and when you could have voted to impeach Donald Trump, you did not. But now all of a sudden that you see the tide changing, now you want to jump over here because you're not getting what you thought you was going to get from Donald Trump and the maggot party. I call it the maggot party. But that's what I call it. Just like I call the Demon Dome, the Capitol, the Demon Dome. Ain't nothing but a bunch of evil folks up there doing evil things to good people. And then we got too many that's going on, and people are not speaking out about the evil or the injustice that's going on. But I want to applaud these ladies again, like you, for standing up, having the courage to stand up, knowing that many of them got husbands now, they got families, kids, and they got all these things, but their past, they're still suffering and hurting from their past. And I know they've had many sleepless nights and they had to go through many things to overcome these traumas that they've experienced as young people coming up.
Well, Bishop, we got to really understand the political maneuvering of the Republican Party. We got to give them credit for playing the system on both sides, as you really brought out. When Marjorie Taylor Greene and a couple of other Republicans feigned like they breaking away from the pack to give the appearance that there is opposition, that's so fake. They refuse to get to the threshold required to compel a vote to release those records. So this publicity stunt, and this is different than saying her experience is inauthentic. As a woman, I know many women in this country are facing very perilous systems of sexual assault, male toxicity. Those things are real. So she could have a validated personal experience without a doubt, but still play a political role to voice fake opposition against Donald Trump just to continue to add a smokescreen of legitimacy to the system. But until these representatives force accountability on people who the evidence clearly shows that they are predators, child molesters, child traffickers, engaging in sex crimes for multiple decades. It even came out the extent in which J.P. Morgan and other financial institutions bankrolled Jeffrey Epstein's operations, providing him loans and financial credibility. And even as he was bringing multiple millions of dollars of business to J.P. Morgan, introducing J.P. Morgan executive to heads of state, including Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. So we're understanding how deep the systems and institutions have gone. Financial institutions, government institutions are protecting the predators at the expense of the innocence and identity of these women. And they have taken the affirmative step to take on hands. It's just so important for us to validate that principle, because that is something that we all are going to have to come to grips with if the institutions that are designed to protect us and promote our interests are actually acting in contradiction and in convention to our best interests. We are going to have to start taking affirmative steps toward providing our own solutions. Because again, we're not talking about political destabilization coming from right wing militias or some wacko extremist group. This is the federal government. And what's so funny about Republicans, and I want to get your take on this, Bishop. Republicans historically have been the party of states' rights. That when the federal government is looking to intervene and interject its resources into what states are doing, it has been amazing seeing the very red states that are sending their National Guard troops to Democratic cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, when the local leaders are being as vocal as these women to say the National Guard is not needed. Trump's intervention is nothing but an assault on our integrity and a destruction of home rule. So we see these same Republican states absolutely abandon all of their principles and long-held beliefs for political expedience and to continue to terraform this nation into a breeding ground of Christian nationalism, white nationalism, and economic stratification, in which there is a greater and greater divide between those that have and those that are being denied and pushed to the margins. So, Bishop, what are your thoughts on these red states, these states' rights champions justifying and sending their resources to Democratic cities against the will of locally elected officials?
This is how I feel. When we talk about states' rights, and the Republican Party has been, they wanted to get the states to control, to govern their own states. They didn't want to have federal intervention into the states. However, what we're seeing is these states where there are Republican governors, Greg Abbott, now even our governor, Governor Kemp, and others. Now, I want to just vary just for a minute here. When the state of Georgia and Kemp bragged on the fact that we're bringing businesses to Georgia, and they bring in this Hyundai plant, the plant comes in, and now what you do is you send the National Guard down there with ICE to round up over 400 people at that plant that you gave all these tax credits and all these things to bring them in, and now you have decimated that community in terms of economic opportunity because of what you've done. But following the lead of Donald Trump, how I feel about that is straight up is that this is a takeover of what we know and what we believe to be the right things to do in terms of people governing themselves versus having outside intervention. But they're letting Trump use them to be able to mask the corruption and the things that Trump and the people in D.C. are allowing. Because now they're saying we're allowing it because what we want to do is we want to stay in power, as Bannon said, for the next 50 years. For the next 50 years. So this is what we're seeing because they want the power for the next 50 years. Now, one thing that Shannon and I talked about when we talked about a long time ago, and people have been with us all along, when we talked about those appellate court judges that was being the vacancies when Biden was there, that they were not filling all of those appellate court judges slot. So when Trump got there, Trump was able to put young people into those slots, people who think like they think like he done with the Bobe, one of those appellate court judges, and I mean, but they're stacking the deck with people who they want in there so that they can continue to have the control they want to have. See, there are people who see that. And they say, "Oh man, I got to go along with this because they got the power. They got the power. The power is rooted in what Trump has created. And I won't say Trump so much as it is Trump. It's the Heritage Foundation and all of these foundations who have put monies into this network of making it happen, right? So we know." What's going on? We know those brothers who have gotten legislators to. I'm trying to remember their name right now. Those brothers who have gotten the legislators around the state to bring in legislation to set the framework to what Trump is getting done now. And I'm trying to. Their name is the Koch brothers. They set up that foundation so that foundation has been set up in those states. So now you have the same kind of support on the state level than you do now on the federal level because they're going to go along with it. See, there are state just go on. Go on, listen to you. Go on.
We got to understand politically, stacking the appellate court to Supreme Court, this is legal. The biggest issue is what you brought up about Biden, Obama, the failure of Democrats and the opposing political party to Republicans to institutionally buttress the position of liberalism, multiculturalism, worker rights, civil rights, institutionally through government, that we have been so pushed outside butt naked in the cold that the only thing we can do is yell and march and have some catchy slogan that everybody's seeing. No kings now. I'm seeing all of that, in people's yards. And yes, grassroots activism is a part of it without a doubt. But between the amount of governments we have at the local level, at the municipal level, at the county level, at the state level, Democrats or other opposing political parties have got to start winning elections, have got to start consolidating the political capital with the corporations that are on our side, with the civic organizations that are on our side, to fortify a political allegiance that can have some muscle, that we can provide some consequences. You have to admit Trump has been effective in primarying any Republican who opposes his platform, that he has provided legal and dominating consequence. Liz Cheney was the number 3 ranking Republican until she went up against Donald Trump. She has been unable to get back into government since. These are real consequences that you can execute that fortify your agenda. And I am tired of Democrats playing this respectability card and trying to justify that they have some sense of decorum in how they execute policy when there are greater disparities coming up in minority communities on healthcare, on income, on inheritance, on education, on all these critical life areas. We also are standing around with our hand in our pockets while these Republicans further isolate us on an international stage, that we are hesitant to support our NATO allies as Putin continues to advance his militarism and his expansion of territory now into Poland. This is looking like a complete rerun of Cold War era politics, and we have a president that is so in line politically with Putin, with North Korea, with China, that it is absolutely absurd to think that we have the political capital with the current administration to reverse this isolationism that America, because even if Trump is a turncoat, let's say, so-called, and he is with these despot nations. The political history of the United States over the last 80 years, being a founding member of the United Nations, being a founding member of NATO, that type of political liberalism makes it impossible to believe that we have just all of a sudden turned to a complete dictatorship. And so it's hard for Russia or North Korea or China to believe that America is completely in their camp. We're going to be a man without a land internationally. We won't have a home pretty soon because we won't be able to go to our old allies, and the new allies will continue to look at us with contempt and suspicion. And so where does that position us? So when we talk about what the Democrats need to do, they have got to show up in the midterm. They have got to take the House. They have got to take the Senate. These have got to be critical, zero-sum goals. Either you get it or you don't.
Well, let me
and Bishop, if they don't do it, how should we be dealing with the Democrat Party, Bishop?
Let me just say this, Ron. Even the way I see it, honestly, if the Democrats do take back the House, if the Democrats do take back the Senate, when they do, things will have been so eroded that they'll still be powerless because the Supreme Court has given so much power to the President of the United States, True. Right? True. So what could they do unless they take the White House? If they don't take the White House, the President still has the same power and the clout that he's going to run to the Supreme Court and say, give me the power to do this. Give me the power to do that. Give me the power to do this. I was listening to a clip the other day from Popok on his legal analyzation, and he was talking about the Supreme Court judges and all of them and all the benefits and the perks they've gotten all the way from Roberts to all of them. They've gotten some except for those Democrats that are there, right? They've gotten all of these things, but they won't set an ethical policy for themselves. But however, they say that no one can set a policy for them because they, on ethics, they have to govern themselves based on the fact that they are a branch of the government. But all the rest of the judges, from the appellate court to the courts to the lower level federal judges, they have a code of ethics. They have to abide by. They have to abide by the canon and all those other things. But they're saying we self-govern ourselves. We self-govern ourselves. No one governs us because we self-govern ourselves. See, one of the things I think at one point they were talking about adding more people to the Supreme Court to kind of level the playing field. But if you're putting people on the Supreme Court that they're not fair in their judging, and they're judging based on the people who put money in their pockets and engroaching them with more money and more money and more money for their inheritance for their kids and their grandkids. You still where we are now because you don't have people that's sitting there and judging from a fair perspective, because they take the Constitution and the way they interpret the Constitution, we really don't need a Constitution. I mean, to be honest with you, because they doing what Trump wants. The only thing Trump has proven to us, I want to get they can say whatever they want to say at the lowest level, they don't care. He said because he's going to take it all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is going to give him exactly what he wants. And he said that I will be the president from now on. They are making it. They're setting the standard. So if the Democrats do take the House, if the Democrats do take the Senate, what real power or control would they have based on what the Constitution say they're supposed to have? Well, you take like the tariff. They said the president don't supposed to be setting tariffs. However, he has set tariffs and created this country where you could used to go buy a sandwich for $5. Now a sandwich may cost you $10 for the same sandwich you got for $5. The price is double. The price is double. Everything is double because of him and his tariffs. So what I'm saying is to you, and I know it look like Ron is combating with me, but he got a delay on his side. But the reality of it is that this is what's going on. I mean, how do to your point, how do we do it if the Democrats take over the House and the Senate, but you still have a Supreme Court that's going to give him everything that he wants. And no matter what the House or the Senate does, how does it go? How's it going to make a difference? You can see that right now, because everything that he wants to do, they agree. Yes, the president has that power. Yes, the president has that authority. Yes, the president. They're making him a dictator. They're making him a dictator by passing the rules or interpreting the Constitution that he has the right to do the things that he's doing. He has the right to do it. So there is no check and balance. There is no check and balance, because they've done away with the check and balance. And then you have many of them that are there that allowing him to do it and not trying to check him, because they should have impeached him a long time ago. I mean, he has done so much stuff that ain't funny. When he sits on Fox News, I see him sitting on Fox News, and they're asking him questions. Getting back to your point about Putin and what's going on with Putin, they said the drone that flew over Poland, one of the NATO nations, flew over Poland and crashed and blew things up in Poland that Putin had sent over there. Then he said, "Oh, that just fell out the sky. It didn't supposed to fall over there." And I mean, really, you taking up for Putin? They're saying it wasn't really intent to do that. Come on, man, come on. I mean, but he started when he started talking about kicking people out of NATO because they ain't paying their fair share. I mean, let's just be clear, because he has created this wedge between us and our country and other countries. And you said it best. Well, we're gonna be a country with no people that we can rely upon that want to support us in any efforts. If Putin want to come over here and take over this country, are they gonna help us? No. Will they help us? No. Is Donald Trump going to be the one that can tell Putin, don't come, please? He ain't listening to you. He done showed you. He done played you. You've been played by Putin. You still ain't got it yet. You've been played by Putin. You know, he still ain't got it there. He's been played.
And we're going to be remiss if we, fail to bring up the Charlie Kirk assassination and the role that mainstream organizers and influencers like Charlie Kirk have played in making this level of personality cult worship and hero worship the new checks and balances, that the New Age Republicans have abandoned any sort of belief in the Constitution to erect a cult-like figure in Donald Trump, whose personality is so abrasive, that his intellectual capacities are so diminished, but yet he has a hard-line white nationalist, Christian nationalist stance. It's going to be very difficult to see America turning back from this current agenda, because people like Charlie Kirk, and may he rest in peace, because even though his life may have been lived in political opposition to the values of democracy, we always denounce political violence. We always
absolutely
hold very center that we have the right to express ourselves. We have the right to communicate and have an understanding that if I'm unable to defeat you through the validation of fact, history, and the application of data, that I have to move to a cheap and ridiculous system of violence so that I can get my way. But what's interesting about his very assassination on the college campus was that his own views, his own policies prophesied his assassination, as he, as a Second Amendment extremist, is on his own podcast blasting out to a growing mass of young Republican Americans that he accepts a certain number of gun deaths a year to validate an ironclad belief in the Second Amendment. He also was a strong proponent of the lynching style public executions where children and community members would be obligated or compelled to witness public execution as a sanctification of the values of our community, that is the way we are supposed to enforce law and order. As we've seen in the 19th and 20th century, white communities hold a church service, and benediction, after the benediction, they go lynch a fellow citizen as a community coming together, as a consciousness raising event. And this is what this man, young man, is espousing in 21st century America. So the level of political violence that the right wing politicians, ministers, and cultural leaders like Charlie Kirk have flooded into this nation has come around and taken one of their youngest and brightest stars by the very methods that they claim make this country great. And they have taken this incident as license to further their desire for political violence. Charlie Kirk talked openly about initiating a soft civil war in this nation by forcibly removing 10 million illegals that he termed were invading in this nation. What a and as extreme as that policy sounds, and as ridiculous as that policy sounds, it is actually happening right now with ICE, with the mobilization of the federal government behind these massive deportations. So, Bishop, the Republicans and right wing have created a dynamic synergy between their faith community, their cultural and social media leaders, and the railroading of ridiculous right-wing policy. And until the left really understands that that is a model that must be replicated at the local, state, and national level, you're right, Bishop, it will be impossible to take back the House. It will be impossible to get the Senate. And even if you get those things, you will be unable to possess the power and the cultural capital to ram your agenda through, not try to be bipartisan. Republicans ain't bipartisan at all.
Not at all.
And getting and they getting everything through. So that's where I'm at with that.
All right, let me just I'm gonna wrap it up here with this statement. I think what I know that what you said is so true, but there's one thing that I really want to emphasize. We're ministers. We believe in God, the creator of heaven and earth. We truly believe in life after death, eternal life. We believe in standing up for the least, the less, the lost, and the left out. We believe that we practice that, we preach that, we teach that. But what we have is so many of us have been duped by saying we're Christians. We're Christians. And if we look at those who profess Christianity, as you just said, the white nationalist, Christian nationalist, the move of the white Christian is totally different than the God that we serve. And as I see, Ron, this, many of Mike Johnson says that he's a Christian, but a Christian that will lie, that would get up on there and lie and say that Donald Trump is innocent because of this, and then we find out that what he said, Donald Trump they didn't even go along with the message that he was giving. The message, they weren't on the same page, so I guess they couldn't get that lie together. But you say that you're a Christian, and you say you believe in God, but yet you practice those things of Satan. You lie, you steal.
Yes. Yes.
You're jealousy, you're envy, you're selfish. You don't love your brother as yourself, as Jesus taught us. So how can you really call yourself you're following Jesus? No, you're not a Christian. You're not following Jesus. Us who are believers, we follow Jesus, the message of Jesus Christ. So I want to clarify that, because a lot of people say, why you say you're a believer? Because, believers are Christian. No. The title of Christian that people wear is not they believe in Jesus Christ, because they don't practice what Jesus teaches us to practice and live by. So if they truly were believers in Jesus Christ, we would not be in the dilemma that we're in today. There's no way possible, because we will be trying to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, help those who are left out, the marginalized. We wouldn't be trying to cut out programs that's going to help people and hurt, and then set up programs to hurt people, not to call yourself a child of God. Jesus didn't do that. He came into the world to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked, to give sight to the blind, and unstop deaf ears. He did. So what we are here on this program, we speak in truth to power. So if you truly believe in the Word of God, then you understand why we say what we say and we do what we do. But God is still yet in control. And Jeremiah said, if my people would humble themselves and seek my face, his face, he said, then I will heal your land. The land cannot be healed because if we continue to go down this road and call ourselves Christians and not practice what Christ has told us to do, that we're to do, then we're going to see America fail like Babylon failed, like the children of Israel failed, because they didn't listen to Jeremiah. They didn't seek God's face. That's why they were taken into captivity into Babylon. And our captivity is show if we don't do, the Word of God is true. It's show if we don't do what we know we're to do. But I thank you so much, Ron, because it ain't going to help them because we got Democrats or we got Republicans. It's going to be because of God. It's going to be because of him. Because the power that be is his power. It ain't their power. Well, thank you so much for being a part of Straight Talk. Next week, Shannon will be back with us. He'll be off of his R&R. Miss C was off her R&R today, and she thought Shannon was here. See, that shows you just how much she was paying attention. That Shannon ain't here. When she wasn't here, he didn't pay no attention that she wasn't here. So, but we're here. Ron, listen, we got to get your camera working, because it looked like me and you battling in our conversation, and you got such a delay over there. But listen, this ain't been nothing but Straight Talk with George Trudy, Greg Fan, the Preacher Man, and Ronald Allen. We'll see you next week here on Straight Talk with Shannon, Miss C, Ron, and myself, and we'll round the world with news and information. Don't forget to make subscribe, don't forget to like us, don't forget to make comments, and don't forget to share. And if you'd like to be on the program, we'd love to have you. Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com, and subscribe to our YouTube and Facebook channel. But God bless you as always, and may you take the word to the wise, hit to the wise, ought to be sufficient. We're trying to tell you something. You need to listen, and you need to pass the word.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fan at FANN922 at Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shannon Jones and Greg Fan, the Preacher Man.